Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast.
Welcome, Fran.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fran Laidler.
This is a new experience for me.
Absolutely. Same for me. I mean, I was thrown into this on the fly, and absolute privilege to have you here. And thank you for saying yes, I suppose. That's all I can say. Thank you for saying yes.
Well, I thought I'll try something new. I'll just jump in the deep end and see how this goes.
Let's swim.
Yes.
Let's swim together.
Let's
Let us girls swim together. For those who don't know Fran, she is a very accomplished pilot, female pilot in South Africa, a baker of notes, horse rider. Welcome, Fran. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Where do I start? The biggest thing is, I'm I was born in Germany.
Okay.
And my family's German. I grew up in South Africa, so I say I'm always the best of both, German and South African.
There we go.
And I have a very colorful life. I did a lot of things. I was born in Germany, moved here when I was 4. Then I grew up in South Africa. I loved it. And then I actually started off by going into the fine arts. So I went to London. I did a bachelor's degree of fine art majors in sculpture. And no one in my family flies. So aviation was something that I'd never even thought of. And so I went to London. I did my Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then I was halfway through, and then I was like, what do I do? I'm not crazy enough to be an artist. To work in a gallery is too boring for me. I don't really know what to do. And my godfather, who's German, he was a headhunter at the time. So he always read through the advertisements in the Frankfurter Allgemeine in Germany. Okay. And Lufthansa was looking for pilots. Oh. And they were always advertising. And he said, why don't you become a pilot? And then I was like, well, I never thought of it, but I always loved flying. My folks sent me from here to visit my grandparents as a UM as a 6-year-old. So I've been flying all my life, and I loved it. Turbulence was the best.
Okay.
And then I thought, okay, great idea. And then funny enough, I listened to the radio. I was in London, I was driving, and I heard an ad for a helicopter school. And then I thought, well, let me go and check it out and see what this is all about. So I went there on the weekend, and I went there and I said, I'm interested in flying. So, and they were like,
where do I start?
Yeah. And they were like, why don't you have a half an hour test session in a helicopter? And I was like, okay, cool. So I jumped in and we did a little spin, and yes, I loved it. It was amazing. So I'm like, this is what I want to do. And then I told them my plan was to go to Lufthansa or to British Airways to apply for their cadet program. And then they said, well, actually, you should rather do your fixed wing license because your rotor license is not going to count for very much.
Okay.
And then next door was a flight school for fixed wing. And I went there, I spoke to him, and I said, what I need to do? And they said, this is basically how much it costs. And then I phoned my folks. I'm like, this is the plan. And they were like, what? So then I said, well, I've already started this. I'm definitely going to finish my bachelor degree. But let me maybe do my private license.
Yes.
And then I can at least see if I'm good at this or not.
Yeah.
And then if I really like it, if I'm actually good at this, then I can apply for Lufthansa. And they were like, okay, cool. So my folks sponsored that. And then I did my PPL, yes, and my life just changed overnight.
Really?
It was amazing. I mean, I was always super shy, and I was this mousy little child in the background. And then suddenly just flying just opens you up, and it's just gives you so much confidence. I mean, you almost feel like you've got new superpowers, It's amazing. So I did my PPL that side, loved it. And then I finished my my bachelor degree. And then I actually went to school to train for the entrance exams for Lufthansa. They're hardcore.
Yeah.
3 days, and it's everything from science, physics, math, English, everything, and motor skills, etc. So I did that for 2 weeks. And then I did the entrance exams for Lufthansa. I also applied for British Airways. And the entrance exams were 3 weeks apart, both of them. And halfway through, September 11th happened. And then it was like, oh, my hat. And then, all the planes were grounded, the pilots were losing their jobs. And then both airlines closed the cadet program. So I was like, okay, well, that's not really going to work.
Yeah, so, pivot.
Yes.
Make another plan.
What do I do? So then, then my plan B, if I wasn't going to get into either program, was to take up a loan. At the time, it was like 100,000 German marks to do your com.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, actually, this is not very viable because I'm going to take up this huge loan. I'm going to do this, and then there's going to be no
job, no money coming in.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can't do this. Not a good idea. Then at the time, I met a new guy, and he was going to Australia, and he was going to do his master's degree there. And he's like, why don't you come to Australia with me? You can do a master's degree. Then I was like, well, I don't want to do more fine art because I definitely know I don't want to go into this field.
Yes.
And then he said, no, you can do half a year bridging course, and then you do all the basics, like you do marketing and economics and accounting and something else. Anyway, and then if you do well enough, they'll take you into a master's program for commerce. You can do just about anything with that. So I thought, actually, good idea. So then I pitched the idea to my folks, and my mom's answer was
here we go again.
She's like, are you ever going to stop studying? I'm like, I promise this is the last thing.
Yeah.
I'll
No
work
more.
after that. So then my mom was like, okay, cool, off you go to Australia. So anyway, I packed up my stuff and I went to Australia. I did my my bachelor's degree there, my master's degree there. And I'd sold my car in London, and so I had a little bit of pocket money. And then I thought, well, maybe let me fly a little bit. And then I found a flight school in Bankstown, and they advertised, it was actually an aerobatic school, and they advertised, it was like a safety course.
Okay.
So I think it was like 10 or 15 sessions. And then basically, so if you end up in the aircraft upside down one day, then you'll know what to do.
Yes.
You know? So I said, okay, cool, perfect thing. I've always wanted to do aerobatics and something like that. So yeah, I spent my money on that. And then my money ran out and I stopped flying. But it was fun while it lasted. So we flew out to the Blue Mountains. It was very cool. And then I stopped flying. Then I finished my master's degree. It took me 1.5 years. And then, so I did a Master of Commerce with a major in finance and accounting. And then I moved back to Germany. The guy that I was dating, he moved there. So I followed him 6 months later. And then I actually ended up working for Deloitte Consulting. So I worked for them for 3.5 years. I was a treasury management consultant for them. And I was very lucky because their main client that I worked for mainly over those 3 years was EADS, which is European Aeronautic and Defense Systems. Okay. So that's the Airbus group.
Yeah.
They renamed it. So it was really cool working at the EADS headquarters in Munich. That's basically where we worked most of the time. And actually, I was there at the time when they developed the 380.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's very cool. So actually, the one morning, it was a Monday morning, I just got back because I lived in Frankfurt at the time. So I took the train down, and then my colleague said to me, you have to come into the canteen. The 380 is going to get airborne. So I quickly ran through with my luggage and everything. And then the whole company was in the canteen. They put up this huge screen, and we watched the 380 taxi, and then it lined up. And then anyway, it went hurtling down the runway. And then when it got airborne, the whole company just erupted in cheers. It was amazing. It was so cool to be part of something like that.
Must have been a big moment.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah. So anyway, so that was nice to work kind of in aviation, but in finance. And then I came back to South Africa over December because I wasn't actually going to come to South Africa. And then we had to take leave. So I thought, well, bugger this, I'm going home. So I went to South Africa. And I was here and I was like, why am I even there? I miss South Africa so much. Yeah. So I'd been overseas at that time for about 8 years. And then I was like, no, this is it. I went back to Germany for 3 months. I pondered it. And then after the 3rd month, okay, I'm like, I'm resigning. Going home.
Going home.
And no plan. And I was like, yeah, I'm going. And then after a month, I'm like, sure, now I need to actually find a job. So then I contacted Deloitte here in South Africa. And then I said to them, coming over, this is the area that I've been working in. They were super excited. They gave me an interview over the phone. They sent me a job offer. So then I had a job.
And then Fran had a plan.
Yes, so I had a plan. I came here. So that was in 2006 in July. Yeah, July. And then I started working for them here. And I'd been with them for like 2 weeks. And then the one weekend, I thought, okay, let me just see what I need to do. Maybe I can start flying again, because the weather's good. And now I've got money, I've got time.
Yeah.
So I went to Lanseria, went to a flight school called Learn to Fly. Okay. And then I went there and I said, listen, I've done my PPL overseas. What I need to do, fly here. They said, no, well, you just do like the law exam and you do a flight test in a few hours and you're good to go. Yeah. So they came like us. So then he said, well, what are you going to do after that? So I said, maybe like a night rating or something. And then he said, do your COM. He says, The market's really good. They're looking for females. There's so much opportunity out there. And I was like, sure, that's tempting, So I thought about it. And then, then I thought about it some more. And I was like, okay, now I've got the time. I was living with my folks, had no expenses. And I had a bit of money that I inherited from my grand. So I was like, okay, this could work. And then anyway, so I looked at how much it would cost and everything. And then I went back to my boss at Deloitte. I'd only been here for 2 weeks. And then I said to him, I'm so sorry. But I was like, plan B. So I was like, I'm going to resign. This is the plan.
Yeah.
It's basically, I've been given a second opportunity to follow my dreams.
Yes.
And they were so nice. They were like, this is amazing. I'm so excited that, you're following your dreams. They said, if it doesn't work out, your job's still here in a year's time. So it was amazing. I had nothing to lose. Yeah. And then when I'm what do you call it? When I set my mind to something, I do that and nothing else. So it took me 5 months to do my comm.
Sure.
Yeah. So I just ate, slept, and flew. That's all I did. And then
5 months quick.
Yeah. So I was very determined, and I didn't want anything more than this. So that's all I did. And then so I did my comm, and then I was very lucky because I managed to sort of straight away find my first job flying up in Uganda. So it was very nice. I flew an Islander there.
Okay.
So it was twin time, it was PIC, and it was perfect. So I went up to Uganda for a year.
Sure. Fresh comm, hey?
Fresh comm. Yeah, so I was very lucky. So I met the guy that I started dating and then later married.
Okay.
And then he said there was an Australian girl that was working for them and she was just about to leave. And then he said, well, there's a position open. Are you interested? I was like, definitely. Then I said, can you just wait 5 weeks? Or just wait like a month or so. I just want to do my ATP exam.
Yes.
So they're like, cool, we've still got enough manpower and stuff. So then I just quickly did I just did self-study. And
let me guess, 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks.
Slight overachiever.
So I just quickly wrote my ATP exams. And then I was like, okay, good to go. Now I'm ready. So then I was very lucky. So I went up there. We were based in Entebbe. And I did 100 hours with someone else just to understand, understand the strips and stuff and where to go, etc. It took me forever to understand ATC. Didn't know what they were on about.
Yeah.
So it's another language that. And anyway, so then I flew up there for just over a year. So it was very nice. It was super exciting. I mean, you get to go places no one ever goes as a tourist. Yeah. So it was very interesting, exciting. And then, after that year, I then managed to get a job at FedAir. So I flew for them on the 1900 and then also a little bit on the Caravan. I got 20 hours. And I wasn't really flying very much. So I was looking around and then I got a really great opportunity to go to SA Express. Okay. And then went to there from there. Right. Yeah.
If you had to look back and pick one moment where you went, this is it. Can you remember that? Can you identify that moment that you went, okay, this is it.
This flying.
This flying thing from working in finance and doing everything that you were doing.
Well, nothing has ever lit me up like flying. So when I did that first half an hour in the helicopter.
So you would go all the way back to that first.
All the way back to then.
First 30 minutes in the helicopter.
Yeah, it was literally, I just changed overnight. It is just like, it makes you, I mean, I don't want to say you believe that you're something special, but it just makes you have a whole nother view of what you're actually able to do. It's like, it really is cool. Also, never having sat in a light aircraft, not knowing anyone that flies. Yes. I always thought like, flying is for rocket scientists. You always think like, oh my God, pilots are amazing, all these buttons and da-da-da. But it actually isn't. It's pretty straightforward. You just, if it's something that excites you, you got it.
You've just got to go for it. You've got to, like you said earlier, put your mind to it and just do it.
Exactly.
Get it done.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me, and why I've also agreed to do the podcast, is we are still unfortunately very outnumbered as females in aviation. If you had to look back from when you did that first 30 minutes in a helicopter, what would you say from then to now has changed when it concerns female in aviation? I mean, we're having to walk that journey from 2006, you said.
So the first time I flew a helicopter was in 2000, I think.
Okay, so it's a good 26 years ago. Yes, so in 26 years, if you're having exposure to aviation, what would you say has the biggest improvement that you've seen regarding being a woman in aviation?
Well, I must say, like, my journey through aviation is I've never felt that someone looked at me and said, "Oh, what's she doing here? You know, she should be in the kitchen." And I've flown with some really old school traditional pilots, you know, that came from the Air Force, and where you would think, like, yeah, those guys definitely, you know, for them, a female plays a different role in life. But everyone's been very encouraging, and I feel like I've always been very welcome. I almost feel like they put in extra effort for the training that they've given me and stuff. And I think if you show that you basically not riding on your looks, and you're not riding on being a female, and you're not going, oh my God, you know, I've been discriminated against. You just act like a normal person and you fit in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the world of aviation is very welcoming for females. You know, there's a lot of encouragement there. I mean, at the moment I fly for Airlink, we have a huge number of females. And on my fleet, we very often, I'd say 50% of the time, we're an all-female crew. So it's there's a lot of females in aviation.
It's a special moment, eh?
Yes.
I've had it a
very
few
cool.
times where we are full girl complement. And we even had a female engineer the other day, and I was
Yes.
properly proud.
Yes.
I was properly proud,
Yes.
and I was boasting, and it was so happy, and it gives me such joy to see that we are being included. There is a space for us, and just to know that we are welcome, and things that have changed from previous years where it was a very severely male-dominated industry to be in.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a very heartwarming feeling.
is.
And to have women like you, yourself, that has been a captain in the airline industry, to have you guys as a role model is admirable. So thank you for being a role model for us to look up to.
Yeah, it's but I also think like some men have actually said to me they consider, obviously not everyone, but often females will be better pilots because they have more feeling, and they think differently. They think out the box. So it's not saying that we're better. We're just saying we're bringing something new into aviation that wasn't there before. And there's also more connection. And I do feel like if you have a more relaxed flight deck, that you work better together.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
More
this-
cohesive.
Yes, exactly. It's not this big cockpit gradient, you know, the one says, another one does, you know, that type of thing. So
And do you think that is specifically something that females bring to the industry and to the cockpits? That we just, as you've mentioned, we approach things from a more feelings perspective. Sometimes in the world, a woman with all the emotions isn't always the greatest thing in the world. Into menopause. But if you'd have to put one thing down that you would say the biggest contribution that a female pilot would bring to the cockpit, what would you say that is?
I think I definitely think a different perspective.
Okay.
And a different level of understanding. And it's a strange industry because it is very rigid in some ways. Like, for instance, you know, you have, if an emergency happens, you have a QRH, and you do everything from 1 to 10. You don't mix it up. That's the exact order that you do it in.
Correct.
But sometimes you do have situations where, you know, if you just think laterally, there's other things that could help your situation or how to deal with it. Also, working better with a cabin crew in the back, because I feel that like I get on very well with the cabin crew. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that it's a whole buddy situation, but they, you know, I feel like if the crew has a sort of mutual understanding, you, as I say, you work better together as a team, and they can contribute a lot to making your flight day better. I always say there were certain cabin crew that I flew with at SACS, and I was like, I know if she's on my schedule, then you've got nothing to worry about. No matter how shit the day is, the passengers are well looked after, and everyone's going to get off smiling, even if you're 5 hours delayed, you know? So we also appreciate what's going on in the back. And I've flown with quite a few females that used to be cabin crew members and are now sitting in the front. Yeah. And they give everyone else in the front an understanding of what's actually happening in the back. So
they look at it from a different perspective.
Exactly,
They know how to gather the situation, the information, and how to package it and bring it to the front.
Yeah.
And how would you say what is your way of keeping yourself motivated when it comes to flying, the difficult hours, the situations, the stress? I shall not mention work-life balance, but because you bake and you ride horse and you fly, and Fran is a very busy, very successful woman.
I must say there's something so special about flying. No matter, I mean, yes, some days you're really tired and you'd rather just stay in bed. And when your alarm clock goes at 3 a.m., you're like, oh, I really don't need to, you know. But when you sit on that flight deck, especially like early mornings, and it's, you know, it's 6 a.m., the sun is coming up, and it's like flying through butter, and it's just the most beautiful feeling. Yes. And it's like, and I think to make it as a pilot, to be a good pilot, you really have to love it. It's not an industry that you do because your dad did it, or it's a good idea to earn lots of money, because in the beginning you don't.
No.
And you have to do it because you love it. And then when you get there and you get airborne, it's the best feeling in the world. So even on a tired day, it's just amazing. So I just love it. And that's just what keeps me going. So yeah. And also I love the fact that you turn off your phone, you get airborne, you're in your own world, and nothing can disturb you. And you get into that state of flow. You know, it's just you and the airplane. And when you fly it, even on a bad day, when the weather's shit and you have to decide where to go, and you look at the radar and everyone makes a decision, and you listen out to the other guys, go, he's gone this way, this one's gone this way. Yeah. And it's like, which way I'm going to choose? I just love it. The excitement's amazing. And then you land at the end of the day and you've got all this adrenaline pumping through you. And the nice thing is also in this job is once you've landed and you walk away, you don't have to think, oh, did I do this right? You know, the job is done, and you focus on your next flight. You don't have to look back at all the things, you know. So
to worry about how we got there.
Exactly.
The decisions we made at the time were the right ones, and we
exactly. Yeah.
So are you a sunset or a sunrise person?
It's hard. I don't know. Well, maybe a sunrise, because I'm a morning person. Yeah.
There's just something about a sunrise. It brings a new day. It brings new life.
Yeah, and
new opportunities.
Smooth. Yeah. Sunset's not always that smooth.
No. Sunset brings thunderstorms and
Exactly.
all sorts of chaos. That'd
be wild.
Yeah.
Although I must say, my best is when you descend and you've still got daylight on top and night underneath, and you descend through that layer of cloud, and it all switches from one to the other. It's amazing. Yeah.
Have you got any? If I had to ask you now, what's your favorite flying memory? What would you say that is?
So I was very lucky. When I was at SA Express, we ferried a few 700s back to America, and I was chosen as one of the crew to ferry one of them back to Clarksburg. It was the best. We flew 5 days to get there. It was such an amazing flight. It was amazing. So we flew from South Africa. We fueled in Kilimanjaro. Then we overnighted in Luxor, went to Dubrovnik, fueled there, flew to Glasgow. It was so nice flying through European airspace and seeing how everything's working there. And then from Glasgow, we did the Blue Spruce route across the top to Goose Bay, and then fueled there, and then flew to Pittsburgh, overnighted, and then flew to Clarksburg. It was amazing. It was a great flight. Just myself, the captain, and the engineer, who slept most of the way.
Oh,
he didn't find it that exciting.
That must have been quite a journey.
No, it was nice. It was, so that was like the most memorable. And flying across the ice caps there in Kangalusuk, which is, Greenland. Yeah, it was something special. It was very nice. At minus 16 degrees in the morning. It's cold.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and we landed just after a snowstorm, so everything was white. The air was white, the ground was white, the runway was white, just a few lights.
Sure.
It was amazing. Oh. So it was really cool to see, yeah.
That must have been something special. Yeah. What do you see for the future for aviation? Where does Fran want aviation to go? And especially for women in aviation, where would you like to see the industry go?
So the big thing in aviation is, can they get rid of pilots? Will they fly automated? Are we just going to sit in drones? And I sincerely hope it doesn't happen. So that's, a big discussion. And I also sincerely hope it's going to be a 2-crew environment and not a single crew environment. So I really hope that stays. I kind of have a feeling it can't go any other way, because, just a normal laptop will freeze and suddenly not work anymore. Yeah. And then you do control, delete, or turn the thing off. Yeah. But you can't do that in the sky.
No.
So you need
No.
You need a person to do that. And Yeah, it would be nice to see the industry sort of like, 50-50, just more females in it. So, yeah, it would be, yeah.
And if you could go back and tell Fran 26 years ago before her 30-minute helicopter lesson.
Never in my wildest dreams. I would have been like, are you smoking your socks? I never in my wildest dreams. I always said, like, when I left school and someone said to me in so many years' time, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be an airline captain or whatever. I'd be like, who are you talking about? Me?
Yeah.
No, it can't be, So it really, it does seem totally unreal, but it's not out of reach. It's like, yes, the problem is the biggest entrance barrier for this industry is the cost.
Yes.
It's a huge cost. And that also always, hovers above you because you think, I really need to do well and you really need to do this. If I don't do this, if I don't get it now, then I have to fly another hour. That's going to be another so many rands. So that's the biggest problem. But the industry needs pilots. I mean, we're desperate for pilots at the moment. So something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing that stands out for me is that don't give up. If this is really something that you want to do, male or female, if flying is really part of your fiber and your makeup, then you'll find a way.
And someone said to me when I first started, they were like, okay, you need to network. You need to know people. You need to go to, to the cafe. You need to speak to people. You need to sit in the hangar. And it really is an industry where if you sort of know people and you show your interest and you show your passion, you will succeed. And so that's definitely, and be a chameleon in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Yes, in the beginning.
They say the hardest job is a first officer's job.
Yeah. But also show humility and be willing to learn. That's the biggest thing. Because as long as you're humble, you're willing to learn, you acknowledge the experience that the guy next to you or the girl next to you's got.
Yes.
And you can always learn, no matter how long you've flown for or how many hours you have on a certain aircraft.
Correct.
Someone else might always have a slightly different perspective, which could just make you think twice about.
Or make you understand something better.
Exactly, yeah.
I've got a lot of young girls coming to me and asking me what should they do? How should they approach the industry? And if you could spend 2 or 3 minutes with them, what would you tell them?
I'd say work very hard. Work very hard, be diligent. Know that this is not easy, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. I actually have a friend of mine's daughter. She's 16, and she asked me to be her mentor for this year for a school project, and they're looking into their sort of future career choices. And I said to her, it's like you just have to learn and learn and learn. You'll never stop learning. This is one industry where we were talking about it earlier.
Correct.
It's exam after exam after exam, but for a reason, because you need to be really good. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know your aircraft. You need to, and everything that happens to you is just a little bit of extra in your bucket of experience, and the more experience you've got, the better pilot you'll be. And also never think that you're invincible. Doesn't matter how experienced you are.
Yeah.
You still need to be humble and respect the aircraft and respect the air, because those elements up there are fierce.
No, so, can you imagine?
Yeah. So don't ever think it can't happen to me. But it is an amazing job. And as long as you sort of walk that tightrope between just loving it and really enjoying it and then also putting in the work, it's going to be for you. And
would you suggest that, obviously we know that the road really starts with a commercial pilot's license, would you suggest that because I'm in the same boat as you, I never did the instructor's route, I went straight into flying in 1900 up in Africa as well. Would you recommend girls, or any young pilot for that matter, stick it out in the instructor's route or try and find a gap in the market where they could go fly in Africa? Because I think that was one of the most amazing experiences that I've had, is to fly in those conditions.
Yeah. So when I did my PPL in the UK, I was told what you do is you do your PPL, then you do your COM, then you work as an instructor, you get some hours, and then you go find a job somewhere.
Yes.
So okay, cool. So then what happened is when I wanted to change over to flying, when I came back to South Africa, my mom said a friend of theirs, their daughter, she was flying for Comair, And she said, speak to her. I didn't know her. And I said, she'll just give you some advice on what to do. So
Yes.
I phoned her and I said, this is what I want to do. She says, it's amazing. It's the best job in the world. And good on you for changing careers
Yes.
now. And then she says, once you're done, you can go find a job up in Africa and you can fly there. And I said, really? She said, I always thought you had to be an instructor first. She said, no, you can go fly up in Africa and you get great experience. So
Yes.
she says, if you then want to go to the airlines would prefer someone that's flown up in Africa to
Yes.
someone that's just sat in the GF for, you know,
Flying circuits.
1,000 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, cool. So then I didn't do my instructor's rating. Also, I don't really have the patience. I always thought I'd be a terrible instructor. so then I thought, no, and I'm an adventure girl. I love it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you don't live in the most cushy accommodation and it's all very limited up in Africa.
Yes.
And but it's amazing. It's the biggest adventure and I wouldn't miss it for the world. And I always say, like at the airlines, when I flew with the guys that did contract versus the guys that just went the cadet route and the instructor's route, there's a different way of thinking. And not saying that you're a cowboy, but you just have, because you have to make it work up in Africa
You
when
have
you
to.
fly there.
Yeah.
You've got an aircraft's probably got 1,000,001 snags, but you go anyway. And then you're sitting there on your own, you don't have much experience, and you have to make a plan. And you better like know what you're doing,
Yeah.
type thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then also it gives you a little bit more confidence because you think, okay, I've survived today, shop, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not that bad. Tomorrow I've got more chances.
Like an experience bucket.
Yeah. So that's my thing. I love flying up in Africa, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. But what I did recently, because I stopped flying for 5 years. And before I went back into flying, I did my instructor's rating because I thought it's a good way to get back in.
Yes.
And you really get to understand the basics. I mean, I learned so much. Even though I'd flown, you know, for so many hours, etc.
Yes.
Just going back to the basics, it's really good. So you do, and then once you understand something properly, then you can teach someone nicely too. So I was very lucky to be able to have done my instructors afterwards because now I've got the experience. And then I've learned the theory, and also you know what's important, what's maybe less important, and you know how to teach the guys, you know, how to be a better pilot. So there's something in both. But if you get the chance, I'd say go up and fly in Africa because you really learn how to think on your feet. And once you've been an airline pilot, to get back into that world, you'll probably have a heart attack. It's like on my hand, so unregulated.
Yeah.
So then also later on in your career, once you've maybe retired from being an airline captain, another way of really giving back to the industry and still staying in the industry is then to be an instructor or to do simulator training. So having your instructor's rating just gives you so many more opportunities, outside of just airline flying. So there's a bit of good in both. Yeah.
And what legacy do you, as Fran, hope to leave behind especially for females in aviation?
Sure. So I have to mention one captain that I flew with. It's SA Express, Roland Reibler. He's crazy German. And the first time I met him on crew transport, because I heard him speak German to his daughter, and then I spoke to him in German, and then I was like, I've just started at SAX, and he was like, come walk the stairs with me. Only ever walk the stairs, no escalators, no elevator, nothing.
Get the steps in.
Steps in, yes.
Steps in.
And he was amazing to fly with because he was super relaxed, and he really knew his stuff, but he never said so. He always pretended like he was actually the guy that sort of just passes exams and just kind of half manages to get the aircraft into the sky, but he was actually really good. And no matter what the skies threw at him, he always had a plan. He never got excited. He never got upset with anyone. And he was always a pleasure to fly with. And everyone respected him. So he wasn't a walkover. And the cabin crew loved flying with him. He was a really good guy. So I hope to be a pilot like him one day. You know, just to have the confidence and the ability and the humility and, the people skills that he did. So it was amazing. And yeah, I want people to enjoy the job. I want them not to strut their stuff in their uniform. It's just, I don't know, it's what to leave behind. I don't know. I just feel like I just want to enjoy life and then leave. so if I was never here, it doesn't matter.
It'll matter if you're not here. So let's just
I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to leave my mark in aviation. But if I can inspire a few more females to come into aviation, that would be amazing, you know. So I would definitely, that would make me feel better, you know. So
Leaving the door open for
like being a mentor for Ashley is amazing. I just see how she loves it and how she enjoys and how grateful she is. Yes. And then just being able to introduce the magic to other people, you know. It's because a lot of people think it's just so out of reach, and it's not.
It's not. But it is magic. I think that's my favorite word of the day is magic, because it is magic.
Exactly.
And I think it's amazing what you're doing for her. And I've recently had the opportunity to also take someone flying who's busy with a PPL 20 hours in. And she sent me a message afterward and said, thank you. You've unlocked a core memory.
That's amazing.
So it's lovely that you're also carrying that forward by doing that for everyone out there.
I mean, it is quite amazing. Like the other day, I walked through the terminal. It was so funny because it was after my 5 years of not flying. And I just finished my training at Airlink in the simulator. And I was just going through the terminal to find out where ops is and how everything works. And I was in my uniform and I was like, so amazing to like walk through the airport again and get that feeling again. Yes. And then as I came down the escalator, there were two young girls. They saw me come down and they came up to me and they were like, do you mind if we chat to you? Are you a pilot? I'm like, yes. And they're like, do you have some time? I'm like, yes, sorry. I'm like, I'm not in a rush. They're like, oh, please, can we ask you? Because we're doing, the one was doing a PPL and the other one was just finishing school. And like, is there any advice you can give us or anything we can do? And they were so keen to learn. And anyway, so I spoke to them for a while and I just said, you know, work really hard, network, take it serious, but also enjoy it. Yeah. It really is amazing. And also always remember why you're doing this, because it is it's not easy. It's a very hard road, and often you'll doubt yourself, and often you'll think, oh, am I really cut out for this? But there's lots of ups and downs, but the ups are really high. So it's amazing. So, and then afterwards they were like, thank you so much. And they were so grateful. And then as I walked off, they were giggling and they were so excited. And I was like, it feels really good to have that effect on someone and to just sort of pay that forward.
And you mentioned doubt. How did you manage and navigate that road of doubting yourself and keeping yourself motivated?
So as I mentioned, I'm German. Germans don't fail.
Don't know what gave that away.
You just haven't worked hard enough if you fail. So you just put in some more elbow grease and you work at it, and then you beat yourself up, and then you're like, come on, you can do this, you know, and then you just persist, and then you just think back to all the good times and all the amazing, you know, why are you doing this?
All the magic.
All the magic, exactly. All the magic.
Your favorite airport?
OR Tambo.
Really?
Love OR Tambo. It's my best.
I did not expect that.
Yes.
Did not expect that. OR Tambo, of all places.
Of all places. I love flying in. I love flying out. I love the chaos. It's just amazing because every day is different. And even though sometimes you're in a queue and then this happens, but there's so much happening on the airways. There's always something to listen to. Big aircraft coming in. I mean, flying a parallel approach with a 380 is amazing. It's just so much cool stuff. It's my best.
OR Tambo. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And if you had to describe aviation in one word, I think I know what you're going to say.
Magic.
Magic. I thought so.
Yeah.
It really, really, really is magic.
Yeah.
And if you'd have to describe women in aviation, what would you say?
Powerful.
Yeah. That's very powerful. Mm. Wow. I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's just because, I mean, in a way because you believe in yourself, you're going against the social norm, and you're setting an example. Yeah.
Thank you for setting the example. Thank you for chatting to me.
It's a pleasure. It's been an amazing experience. I mean, it's something new.
It is.
And I thought, stuff
for me too.
Just do it.
Let's say yes. Awesome. Thank you again. Thank you so much for chatting to me today and for doing what you do, not just for aviation as a whole, but especially for women in aviation. And for touching my life. I don't think I've ever told you that. When I met you, I was just like, I need to know this woman. I just need to be friends with her. So thank you for doing that for me as well.
Thank you. That's a big compliment. It really is.